Hi, it's Dorothy Guining with Scrapbooking Quebec. Today I'm here for Mercy Tiara Kits and I'm going to be creating a 12 by 12 layout featuring the Mercy Tiara Kits February 2025 release called Fabulous. This kit is jam-packed with products from American Crafts, Simple Stories, and Mercy Tiara Kit exclusives. So here's my narrowed down selection. The paper is from Bea Valent's Sketchbook collection and For the Record from Simple Stories. The embellishments are from the very same two collections along with some Mercy Tiara Kit exclusives. And all of this can be found in the main kit, embellishment add-on, and cardstock add-on. If you want to see the entire kit, check out my unboxing video. I will put a link to it below. You will also find links to the Mercy Tiara Kit shop, Instagram, and Facebook group. So let's get started and see what's on my desk. I have two photos of me baking in the kitchen. You can see me there in an apron, and they are matted in white cardstock. I also have this giant doily. There were two of them in the main kit. This is actually what inspired my design. I have three papers here. The white and green were in the cardstock add-on. Those are both from Basil. And that orange one is from Simple Stories, the For the Record collection. Those three papers will make up my frame style foundation page. In addition to that, I have two more pattern papers. Both of these are from Bea Valent's Sketchbook collection, so I'll be cutting into that a little bit later on. I'm just showing you the flip side of that orange paper from Simple Stories. And in addition to all of this, of course, I'm getting out my doily again. I'm just so excited about that doily. But anyway, in this tray are all of my embellishments. So this is from the main kit and the embellishment add-on. And I will talk more about those embellishments later on in the process. What I want to do right now is prepare my frame style foundation page. I want to gut these two papers. I usually do this off camera. Today I decided I would do it on camera. So you can see with this green paper, the color is Lagoon. It's a textured cardstock from Basil. Basically, I'm putting it in my trimmer at 1 inch and then just slicing along. So what I'm slicing out here is a 10-inch square. I will use that elsewhere on my layout because again, this is just for a frame, so it's going to be covered up with other paper. Now for that orange paper from Simple Stories, what I want to do with that is cut out a jumbo circle. So you can see I have my jumbo custom cutting system from Creative Memories. I have the jumbo circle. I'm going to cut with the red blade on the inside of this template, and that's going to give me a circle that measures, I think, about 8 3/4 inches. I will put measurements on the screen, but that's my guess at this point. So I cut that out, and what I'm going to do is just tidy this up, and I'm going to show you what I do with my 3 pieces of paper to create my frame style foundation page. So I'm just basically layering them up one on top of the other. And with these two other papers, you're going to see I use them on my layout. So off camera, I adhered the 3 together. I'm showing you that I rounded the corners on the white cardstock with my Creative Memories corner rounder. And now what I want to do is show you what I'm going to do with the other papers. Well, first of all, I've already matted my photos with that green cardstock. You can see with that orange circle, I placed it underneath the doily. That gives me a bit of color there. And now what I want to do is cut into these other pattern papers. And what I'm doing right now is creating a border that I plan to put on the left-hand side of the page. You're going to see later on in the process, this does change. Actually, this process video is a really good example of how a design evolves and changes as you play and continue, because I had one idea in mind and I came up with something completely different in the end. That's part of the creative process. That's all part of the fun. So at this point, this is what I'm thinking. I have that doily with the orange paper underneath, and I also have these 2 strips of paper that I'm putting on the left-hand side, and I plan to place my photos just so. That's my idea. Now I also want to add a bit more color to my foundation page. Right now I just have that orange kind of peeking through my doily. So I have this ink, it's soft, succulent from Stampin' Up, and it's a really nice match to that Lagoon cardstock from Basil. So I'm just kind of lifting everything. I like the placement at this point. And what I'm going to do is remove the doily, leave the orange there, and I'm going to take a pencil and just lightly draw a pencil line around there. Now what I'm going to do is take a blending brush and just simply blend ink, starting in the middle of the circle that will be covered up by my orange circle, and just blending out. I'm just trying to avoid getting a big dark blob of ink on the visible part of the foundation page. That's why I'm starting where I know it will be covered up. So I continue doing this, and then you're going to see I tidied it all up, and now I'm going to give you an idea of all of my embellishing at this point. I'm also showing you that those 2 border strips that I cut, I did ink them up with that very same soft succulent ink from Stampin' Up! So for my title, I used those thickers from the Sketchbook collection. It's going to be Baking Day. I have these puffy thickers as well from the same Sketchbook collection. Here are 2 ephemera packs. One of them is a floral ephemera pack, the other one journal bits and pieces, both from Simple Stories, the For the Record collection. I kind of narrowed down my selection there. And now I'm showing you some other bits and pieces. I have some acrylic hearts. Those are exclusive to Mercy Tiara Kits for this collection. I also have a few exclusive pocket cards from the Mercy Tiara Kits pocket card collection that goes with this collection as well. I'm showing you that I die cut some leaves from a Stampin' Up! Die called Love of Leaves, and I used that very same cardstock that I gutted from behind the foundation page. I also have the confetti mix for this fabulous collection, puffy stickers from Sketchbook, and self-adhesive brads and chipboard from For the Record. So now what I'm going to do is kind of start playing around with my embellishing and start building clusters. So I'm going to place this circle on the page along with the doily, and you can see how that inking created just a nice soft green shadow around that doily. So I placed my border, I placed my 2 photos. Now I'm trying to find a place for my title there, thinking of putting it in the bottom right. At this point, I'm about to add some embellishing, some of those floral bits and pieces in the bottom right and top left. That's very, very typical for me. But as I'm doing this, here is what I'm thinking. Suddenly my page is just getting too crowded. And for me, I like a certain amount of white space on my layout, and it was like I was losing all my white space. So you can see I flipped it. So suddenly my border that was on the left is now a shelf, and I kind of like it. I feel like I have more white space. Doing the same thing there, putting embellishments in the bottom right, top left. This time I put in that little file card. To me, it looks like a recipe card, and this is in a kitchen, so I kind of like that. At this point, I do have my title on the photo there underneath the photo on the left. But still, it's looking too crowded for me. So I get a piece of white paper, and I'm basically covering up the doily and that orange at the bottom, seeing if I like that. I actually do like that. It gives my eyes a little bit more of a rest. So now what you see me doing is kind of removing everything. And what I'm going to do is just take my pencil, make a little mark where I can cut these, because if I'm going to cut that circle and if I'm going to cut that doily, I might as well cut all of what will be hidden underneath that shelf. I can use those 2 pieces on another page. So I cut that half circle, or I should say I cut my circle in half with my trimmer. I'm adhering that to my page, and for the doily I decided to do it with scissors. It is kind of a thin paper, so I didn't want it to rip in my trimmer, and I'm just adding a little bit of adhesive on top of that orange semicircle, putting my doily on top, and I am happier with that. So now I'm placing my shelf down, and when I go to adhere that pink shelf, you're going to see I end up trimming it a little bit more. So I end up trimming, I think, about a ½ inch off of that. And also, it's kind of funny, when I was cutting those borders, there was kind of a direction in that peach paper, and I had cut it so that the peaches were vertical. Same thing for that ledger paper, but whatever. I end up flipping them both on the side, but by the time all the embellishments are down, you really can't tell, or it certainly doesn't bother me. There I went and kind of trimmed down that ledger paper there, and I'm happier with that. It just shows a bit more of that peach paper. I'm adhering that to the page. I forget to ink it up, but I'm okay with it. Again, everything is going to be covered up with a whole bunch of embellishing soon enough. So I adhere that down. I'm going to place my photo so that one sort of overlaps the other. And I plan to put my title, the word baking, on top of the photo on the left. So I'm starting to adhere that right away. And you can see I'm bumping it up right at the left. And the reason why I'm doing that now is because the placement of the title is important when it comes to the placement of the photo on the right, because the photo on the right you can see overlaps and goes right to the G in the word baking. So off camera I adhered day, and I also adhered those two photos down, and now you can see I'm continuing with the embellishments. So I'm taking that little recipe card there, adhering it to the right side of my photo on the right, and then what I will do is come in with these floral bits and pieces. Now the floral bits and pieces have leaves on them, and I am purposefully covering up the leaves because, as I showed you before, I die cut a bunch of leaves with that green paper that I had gutted from behind the foundation page. And I either want to use the leaves that are on the floral bits and pieces or the leaves that I die cut. So when I am placing the floral cluster pieces, I'm strategically placing them so that any leaves within the ephemera pieces are being covered up. You can see as well that for some of the floral pieces, I'm layering them one on top of the other. If you look at the floral cluster at the bottom, there's this big peachy orange colored one, and on top of it I have a smaller one. I actually popped that up with some foam adhesive right on top of it. It's the same kind of flower, it's only a smaller one on top of a bigger one. So I'm doing the same thing up there in the top left corner. You can see some of the flowers do have some foam adhesive underneath, and now I'm tucking those leaves in each one of the clusters, and it kind of fills out the clusters. I really actually quite like how that looks. Now it's really getting close to the end here. Obviously I have to do a bit of journaling, and I will come in and do some finishing touches here. So I'm just going to get out some smaller bits and pieces. I've got those puppy stickers from the sketchbook. I've got those self-adhesive brads there, and I also have the confetti mix for this fabulous collection. So I'm dumping the confetti mix in this little pot here. I go get my little tool to pick them up, and then I realize it's broken, so I have to use my fingers, which really isn't fun anyway. So I'm just kind of testing out some of the colors. What I'm thinking of doing is just putting some of those confetti pieces in the middle of those flowers. I decide what I'm going to do is punch out little white circles. So I do it in 1/2 inch circles and 3/8 of an inch circle punches, I think, and I put them in the middle of the flowers, and on top of that I'm going to put like a little almost orangish, peachish colored confetti piece there, a little sequin in the middle of each one. It's a little bit tedious, so I end up turning off my camera and doing that off camera. And now I'm showing you for 5 of the flowers, I put those white punched out middles along with the sequins. For one of the flowers, the big one there that's popped up, I decide to go into that self-adhesive brad sheet, and I find one that says love, and I really like that. It's like a tone on tone. It's very, very nice. I also go get myself another ephemera piece. It's a little label that says noted. It's very small, but I actually love how that small bit of dark orange adds a bit more weight to that cluster at the bottom. So you can see I kind of tucked it in there by the flowers over on the right bottom. And now I'm showing you, I have these little fussy cut peaches. I had this tiny scrap of that peach paper, and there were 3 full peaches on it, and I fussy cut them. So I ended up tucking those into those clusters. And you saw me as well go into the puppy sticker sheet, and there were 2 tiny puppy peaches. I got those out as well. So basically off camera, I added my journaling. I also added those 2 puppy peaches within the clusters. I put a staple on that orange label, and I added a few more leaves to each one of the clusters. I also stamped good food in the tab that's on the journaling box. But that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I'd greatly appreciate a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, Scrapbooking Quebec, I would be honored and thrilled if you did. And if you are a subscriber, thank you very, very much. Make sure you check out the Mercy Tiara Kits shop, Instagram, and Facebook page. Take care, and I will see you soon on YouTube. Bye-bye.